Plus years ago, I think a number of us who were business people, finance people, we got quite frustrated by this sort of black and white portrayal in the media. Green groups wanted a policy and regulatory framework to tackle these issues. Business opposed it, and we looked at each other and we said, well, we're business, we're finance, we are professions, and we need a voice in this debate because it's not black and white. There are a significant amount of us in the business community, in the finance world, who care about this, who make a living out of this, who contribute to the UK and global economy. And we need it was critical that we had a voice that represented that.
So our profession plays an important role in sustainable finance, mainly by advising clients.
Our role there is to deliver and help companies on strategy and also on delivering practical solutions in sustainability.
Advising them on how to identify risk and managing risk, identifying them on financial structures, identifying on reporting, and then providing assurance around their sustainability.
Global investment banks are crucial in deploying low-carbon finance. Essentially, we sit right in the middle of a bunch of actors, corporates, institutional investors, governments, retail investors, each of whom have a critical role in shifting to low-carbon economy.
We're creating a new initiative which is complete upside down of the carbon market, and we're addressing the issue from the consumer. Some of the questions tonight were asked about how do we engage with the consumer. We have the solution.
London's an important hub in the sustainable finance sector because it's the world's financial capital.
It's a hub for policy making, it's a hub for finance obviously generally, and it's a hub for the science of climate change as well.
It allows a space for innovation because it has a critical mass of experts that come from around the world to work in London. That allows the type of innovation that sustainability really, really needs.
London has habitually innovated and recreated itself, and we see exactly this happening within the sustainable finance world.
London seems to drive the expertise that the rest of the world seems to follow.
Well, either we have stranded assets or we have a stranded planet.
Is it that you don't think the governments are going to get their act together eventually?
I think people will get educated the more they have a financial exposure to it.
If you were my football club and I was a spectator, I'd be chanting, "You don't know what you're doing."
I don't want to call it another big bang event, maybe it's a decarbonising detonation, something like that. But,
we're having to meet in a basement to talk about this because we're not allowed to talk about it upstairs.
My 7-year-old son could have written it in his break.
You would be a fool not to be investing in this sector.
The thing that will make it easier for the public is if it's cheaper and it drives more growth.
The sustainable finance community in London needs a voice through organisations like the CMIA because that collective voice is so much more powerful with clients, with government, with other stakeholders.
This sector is inherently policy driven, so having the ability to interface with policymakers is very important.
So there needs to be this two-way dialogue between the financial and professional services sector and the government policymakers.
Not just government here, but also in the EU. And I think that's best achieved through an organisation like the CMIA.
It allows quite a wide body of membership to have a single voice and to engage without having any particular bent in their position.
CMIA is really at the front of the key topics that are driving the agenda of sustainability, sustainable finance and climate change forward. They basically cover all the topics that we need to cover. They help get us out there into the market and meet the relevant people that we need to meet to be successful.
It's very proactive, it keeps all of its members informed, it creates events like tonight and other events, and I think it's the driving force that this country needs.
We joined the CMI because we're one of the biggest investors in the carbon market in the world, and therefore it's logical to have a voice amongst others in the industry.
We wanted to be part of that community of climate markets and investment, sharing knowledge, gaining knowledge and working with the CMIA and using that as a collective voice.
It's very good not only to have extended networks with the CMIA and engage with companies and also individuals that value sustainability as much as we are, but also basically be able to lobby and shape the future.
A critical part of this is the policy and regulatory framework, and that is designed by governments. And you need a voice, and for example the Climate Market Investments Association is one such voice. It represents those providing finance and services in this area, and it is the sort of, the gateway for a discussion between the private sector and government.